went from quality learning environments, and it has a new name in Medicine Hat Public School Division of optimal learning environments.
Yeah. Well, that's because I didn't tell anybody what it should be. So when we started the process of defining quality learning environment, um, we engaged in a system-wide process where we had representatives from every school serving on a committee, engaging in research in order to come up with a definition of what a quality learning environment would look like. The concern that was raised about that process by folks who I worked with was, well, what if they don't come up with something that's logical or wise, or it's actually a really good description of quality learning environment? What I said was, if we hold true to the notion that whatever gets in here has to be supported by research, then whatever the names or the orders, or whether it comes out looking like a cube or a circle, or if it's a triangle or a picture of a tree, the pieces that should be part of it, if they're brought to it by professionals engaged in professional inquiry, will be the ones that need to be there. And so that process took over a year in Peace Wapiti, and then the team came up with what you see there now. When I came here, some of the similar issues, although probably to a greater extent, existed in that every school functioned as an independent body. They were really very little that tied them together in terms of shared understanding of practice, professional vision. We had separate report cards for every school. In fact, we had schools with 3 report cards within it. So there was a lot of freedom, but there was very little in the way of shared understanding of what it is we meant when we said that we were doing a great job for kids. And so we invited the very same kind of conversation. I could draw a little bit on past experience to help guide the conversations, not toward an outcome, but in terms of the structure of the conversation and the sequence of conversation and who's accountable for what kind of outcomes and how fast, when to break off into subcommittees and so on. But the same kind of process unfolded here, and they came up with a different name. And I think the different name was really about wanting to make sure that you didn't just go and look at other people's models and then make it your own. We actually strongly discourage the group from wandering around inside of models that exist in other systems like Chinook's Edge or Peace Wapiti. We really strongly encourage the research. And if you want to look at it in order to think about what produces a really nice functional model when you're done, that's fine. You can use it as a way to standard set, but do your own thinking and do your own research. We spoke at the time about TED Talks. TED Talks are awesome. But if you use TED Talks, like a TED Talk on X, as what guides you in your work, then what you're doing is really, really negative in terms of your own professional learning. Because someone produced a TED Talk that's X minutes long based on years of experience and research and reading and building a bank of power that they earned. And if you just use the work of someone else and then reproduce that model, what you've missed is all of that learning. You've failed to build power, your own personal professional power. And so we're really careful to make sure that we engaged in a process that was understood, but that the learning was our own.